So, David Drucker, in your latest opinion piece for Bloomberg, you examine how Republicans are handling this shutdown and the future of Obamacare subsidies, writing in part, quote, Republicans, including Trump, have basically acknowledged that they are going to have to support some sort of legislation to maintain the availability of health insurance under Obamacare. Many of their constituents rely on the subsidies. Republicans in this fight have positioned themselves all along as the party against shutting down the government, as leverage to squeeze policy concessions out of their opposition. Historically, that's the role Democrats would assume during GOP-instigated government shutdowns. The primary reason Republicans are delaying cutting a deal over the Obamacare subsidies, they don't want to be seen as caving to the Democrats and rewarding the minority party on Capitol Hill for flexing its muscles. If that's the case, if Republicans can credibly claim to be the party of the social safety net, Democrats might need to re-examine how they plan to distinguish themselves. That's a lot of ifs, though, David. Is there going to be, I'm just saying, like, are Republicans are going to cave on health care?
Well, everybody, they're going to cave on health care, but they're not going to do it in the context of a government shutdown, most likely. But we will see. But the point I was trying to get at, Nika, with my Bloomberg opinion column was that, you know, our past debates would be about a Democratic Party that believed in the social safety net, wanted to expand and protect the social safety net, and a Republican Party that didn't necessarily want to eliminate it, but wanted to overhaul it, reform it, maybe make it a little bit less available, depending on how you looked at it, maybe have more rules that govern how you accessed it. And while we've seen some of that normal debate with the Medicaid changes that the Republicans made in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, when we look at this government shutdown, it's really not a disagreement over extending Obamacare subsidies. It's just a disagreement over tactics. Republicans are going to end up doing this. They believe in doing this, and they're saying they're going to do it. They just don't want to reward Democrats for using their leverage and shutting down the government. And more broadly speaking, if we recall one of President Biden's State of the Union addresses a few years ago, when he had that back and forth with Republicans in the well of the House of Representatives, and they all agreed, we're for Medicare, we're for Social Security, and Republicans over the last 10 years have dropped any plans or any inclinations to overhaul Medicare and Social Security, the biggest drivers of our debt, because voters aren't interested. And most importantly, their voters aren't interested. Trump brought in so many former Democrats into the party who believe the government is the solution to many of their problems. And it's just a big change in how the Republican base looks at these issues and now how the party looks at these issues, which leaves us with essentially two parties that believe in government and rather large government. They just may, you know, disagree on the details of where to spend the money.
So, Adrian, let's get your thoughts on this. We were reporting all week long, White House a little antsy about the health care part of this. They feel like, at least in this moment, the politics are breaking against them, but some Republicans think that could be salvaged. This has obviously been a winner for Democrats to this point. Where do you see it going?
Look, I think Hakeem Jeffries is doing an incredible job on this, and we're finally able to put ourselves on offense, we as the Democratic Party, on this issue when we don't have a lot of control and power in Congress at this moment. Look, I think the stat, Lemire, is that the billionaire tax cuts are 100 times more expensive than what it would cost to extend the subsidies. So when you think of that statistic, that the Republicans are focusing on fighting for billionaires and not fighting to protect health care for millions of Americans, I mean, that pretty much states where we are at this moment right here. And of course, you remember when Obamacare was initially passed, it was not very popular, but now millions and millions of Americans rely on it. Open enrollment starts November 1st. That's where the real, I think that the rub is going to happen when people are really looking at their bills and realizing how challenging this is. So this is not a fight the Republicans want to have. This is also something that a lot of Republicans ran on, is overturning and repealing Obamacare. But now they're sort of in this catch-22 because it is overwhelmingly popular. And I think that's also why Senator Thune came on this network this week and sort of made some news saying like, oh, maybe we'd be willing to strike a deal. But I also think Leader Jeffries is weary, rightfully so, because if they wanted to strike a deal on this, I think they would have done that before the shutdown actually took place.
Yeah, and certainly, Republicans yet, Donnie, to come up with their own replacement for Obamacare, which so many of their voters use. So let's talk about the messaging wars here. Who do you think's winning?
I think right now it's a tie. I think the Democrats should be winning in a landslide because basically they have a very simple message. And picking up on Adrian's point is like they're giving tax breaks to billionaires and they're taking away your health care and the prices are still high. So Democrats are kind of a little all over the place right now. You go back to our previous story as far as the No Kings talking about democracy. Obviously, critical message, but not, to David's earlier point, not necessarily a message that moves voters. Stay focused. They're taking away your health care. It's the health care stupid. To go back to Carville's thing, it's the economy stupid.